Thank you, Alan, and thank you committee for allowing me to have the opportunity to speak about my campaign this evening. The County Country Advisory Committee is of incredible value to this part of Santa Clarita, as we tend to sit off on the east side and in many cases don't get the kind of attention that our friends and neighbors in Valencia do. I am a 30-year resident of Santa Clarita Valley. I have been involved in numerous aspects both here in my community and in charitable causes around the state of California. I thought that since Frank Ferry and Ed Colley decided to make, rather than talking about the issues, my employment an issue in this campaign, I thought I would tell you a little bit about some of the projects that my organization and that I have worked on. Ed erroneously refers to me as a lobbyist. I have done advocacy work in local communities in the past. However, I'm currently the executive director of an organization that does not lobby. It is in fact called the California Cooperation Committee. It is designated by the Department of Industrial Relations to monitor and enforce prevailing wage projects in the state of California. Essentially what this organization does is it utilizes funds that part of which come from public works jobs to do labor compliance audits on public works projects in the state of California. Now, where all that might sound very boring, and why would someone need to do this? One needs to realize that there are rarely ever any strong bureaucracies in charge of making sure that all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed. We've done 13 labor compliance audits in the last 3 years since I've been with the organization, but I think the crown jewel of the work has been an exhaustive one-year project that I have been working on personally, and it's taken up a great deal of my time, and that is auditing a high school in the Los Angeles Unified School District. LAUSD, which operates under a union-only project labor agreement, has no oversight. These projects get billed for the dollar amounts that the contractors decide to bill them for. There is no one looking out for safety, reliability, quality, or proper wages or use of apprentices on these jobs. Through the work that we've done auditing other projects, we determined that a project like that of the Los Angeles Unified School District would probably be worth taking a look at. What we found was a $100 million high school called Valley Regional High School number 5, where 65 contractors out of the 105 contractors on the job broke the law in various aspects. Some of them up to 15 times on that job. We're talking about here situations where apprentices, some only having joined the apprenticeship program within days, were unsupervised on the job. There are instances where contractors did not have licenses for the heavy equipment and apprenticeship programs that they were operating. And which I think is most appalling is that there are instances actually of contractors paying far below the prevailing wage. And in fact, some workers will actually be due thousands of dollars when this is all said and done. We were just informed by the Department of Industrial Relations that they're going to be reviewing and getting answers from these contractors. And the Los Angeles Business Journal is going to be running a large expose on this as well. This is going to blow open many of the aspects of prevailing wage construction projects here in the state of California. Many workers are going to receive wages they never would have received if we hadn't done this work. And safety and proper use of apprentices is going to be something that will be backed up again here in the state of California. We're very certain of this because, to be honest with you, nobody's had the kind of money we do to do this kind of work before. It was a long, hard project getting the LAUSD to actually allow us to see their records. We had to fight and use court injunctions to get it done. But in the end, I'm very proud of the work that I do, and the board of directors that oversees my work is just so happy that we're able to return a favor to the community and make sure that employees are paid the proper wages, that safety is a key issue on these jobs, and that apprentices aren't abused as low-income workers. And that's what essentially a lot of these contractors did. And I'd like to open up to questions. I'd love to take water questions or more questions about my work. Yes?
Who funds your organization?
The ABC?
Yes.
Well, the California Cooperation Committee is actually approved by the Department of Industrial Relations to use a portion of the prevailing wage fringe benefit. This is why I can't lobby. There is actually a section of the fringe benefit, which includes medical and retirement and everything, that says other. I mean, that's ridiculous, but this is our bureaucracy. They call the column other. It's usually about 40 cents per hour. Contractors that participate with the Associated Builders and Contractors California Cooperation Committee may send that money to ABC CCC to have it used for the auditing of public works projects.
Okay, thank
In your current role, what do you think you're going to bring to the water board if you're elected?
Well, one of the points that I wanted to make by telling you this story that was quite long drawn out is that one of the things that I think the Castaic Lake Water Agency has not been very good at is listening to ratepayers on what it is that they want from their water. They just simply don't have a voice on the current board. The work that I do clearly shows you that I take people who have no voice and I stand up to the microphone and give them one. I promise you that if I'm elected to the Castaic Lake Water Agency, as painful as I know it's going to be sometimes, I will fight to make sure that the water quality issues and the reliability issues that hundreds of ratepayers have told me as I knocked on 3,000 doors are the primary issues of their concern the most. I promise you that we're going to have those battles, and we're going to make sure that the ratepayers get what they deserve.
Hi. Is the water safe to drink from water fountains at schools? And also, I wanted to know if Santa Clarita water has lead.
Yep.
Well, I can't speak to water faucets because, as Ed would probably agree with, there's many things between the delivery of that water and it getting to the mouth of the child in a fountain. I myself would never drink from a water fountain. But that has a lot to do with, I think, the fact that I don't believe that every water fountain is going to be sanitary. But there is a bigger issue here too, and even though the water is safe, it's not going to directly poison us and you're going to keel over and die. There are a lot of things that are used in our water that aren't necessarily good for us. Here locally, they use a chemical called chloramine, which is a combination of chlorine and ammonia, to disinfect the water because of the water we take from the State Water Project. And I was going to go in a little bit more into detail with that in my closing arguments.
Does it contain lead?
Yes, all water contains lead, although it's in very minute levels.
Anybody else? Then maybe I need to ask a question.
Okay.
Can you explain to us about the makeup of the board and relatively from the standpoint of those that are elected by district and those that are elected at large?
I'll speak to this particular race. The three divisions that are up for election on November 2nd represent the first, second, and third divisions of the Castaic Lake Water Agency. There is also an at-large seat which is up. That at-large seat, and I don't envy them, to be honest, I don't know about Ed, but has to run it over the entire Castaic Lake Water Agency, all the divisions, which must take an incredible amount of resources, knowing what it takes just to run in one division. But I think it's interesting from the standpoint of that everybody that's on the board of directors, even those that are appointed by our legislative officials, every single one of those people is responsible for the Castaic Lake Water Agency's decision across the entire valley. Just like one city council member, though they may come from Canyon Country, isn't voting just for Canyon Country. I have a very hard time seeing the distinction, other than the fact that how I have to run in the particular precincts that I need to run in, the difference between my division and that of, say, Tom Campbell or any of the other candidates that are running in this election. I'm going to be